And we are live. My name is Outlaw. I'm your host of RNN Live. Now, why don't we have our guests introduce themselves, starting with the person on the farthest right?
Well, that's accurate in more than one way. And then, my name's Damon. I do things on the internet and silly voices. And I do a lot of research, and I'm well versed on politics. So, welcome everyone. That's your cue there, Z.
I know, I'm just trying to think of how can I cryptically say, help, I'm trapped over here.
You're
That's me, the hostage. Yes. It's called I'm the hostage in this situation.
Anyways, so sadly, I don't know where Neko is, so he may join later on. We'll see. Putsu sadly is not able to join. Neither is Darkon, and
I got an interesting theory for at least two of our potential guesses as to where they are.
What?
Well, my educated guess is Neko is on his knees and Putsa was finally shot by one of his neighbors.
Well, unless his neighbor typed the thing for him, I doubt that.
Quit ruining my jokes.
You make jokes? Since when?
Since my life became a joke.
Well, that's true.
That's got a little bit too dark.
Anyways, now
Back
what
to
did you say?
Outlaw.
What?
I said my that joke was a little bit too far. Now back to bullying Outlaw.
Oh, fuck you.
We're always gonna bully you.
Language, young man. Watch
Fuck
your
off,
fucking
demon.
mouth.
Oh, please. Outlaw isn't young. He's almost as old as you.
I am not.
What, are you calling me old?
I'm only 5 fucking years older than you, Z.
Yes, and I'm 29. How old does that make you?
You are not 29. Stop lying.
I will drag myself down to insult you as much as possible. What did Roy say?
Let's see.
As fewer panelists are joining us, you're slowly becoming a majority to rule over this. Well, I am technically 1/3.
Yes. Now, Demon, you said there was a topic you wish to talk about.
Okay. It involves the Olympics and the fact that I have never seen in the history of the Olympics so many people rooting against our own women's soccer team. To be specific, they lost 3-0 versus the Swedes, and people were cheering and happy about it because they took a knee before the match, except 3 of them. I'll give those 3 credit. And then they got their asses handed to them. And
I mean, 3 of them have self-preservation instincts.
I'm actually rooting for them to lose every single game they play.
Well, they are a bit shady. And then the head is also shares the same birthday as me, the pink-haired one.
Yeah, but she's a Victoria's Secret model.
Wait, what?
Oh, yeah. She's one of their new, because they got rid of all the hot girls, so now they got fat and LGBT.
For people in our audience who may not have an idea as to what the hell Demon is talking about, Victoria's Secret got rid of their hot models and replaced them with people like, I shit you not, I thought this was first Babylon Bee or the Hard Times, some satirical news. But Kathy Griffins is now one of their lead models.
Oh, Horseface herself.
Kathy Griffin. I had to look up who that was again.
She is the ginger comedian who used to be funny, and actually, if you watch her 2001 USO show in...
Oh, yeah, that lady.
She used to be funny, and then she went full-blown in on the anti-Trump stuff, and then did the whole beheading thing, which looked fucking disturbing.
And then she lost her mind and went crazy, and hasn't found it yet.
And she also lost her sponsor, what was it? The Potty Squatty.
That was her sponsor.
Well, not her sponsor, but the person she did a commercial for. Who knows? They might have been her sponsor, but she did a commercial for them.
I don't know. I didn't never think she was funny.
No, like I was trying to say, I didn't know who she was aside from politics, and then looking up at her 2001 USO show in Iran and Afghanistan. Yeah, she was actually quite funny way back when. But like most people who were funny once in the past and then had politics go to their head, it didn't age quite well.
All right. So, anyways, yeah. Let's. Other than that, I'm really curious to see what happens with, shall we say, the trans athletes, like the dude that was male till he was 35. I bet you he wins the gold medal.
Well, he is going against women after all.
Well, yeah.
I don't mean to sound sexist, but let's just say there is kind of a reason why the average of highly physical abuse cases in domestic violence is a man against a woman. And the only time it really does seem to be a woman in the high regards is when it's lesbians. It's more equal grounding that way.
You know what's also interesting is that to let that person in, they actually pushed out women who have unnaturally higher testosterone, so they couldn't qualify for the Olympics.
Yeah, and that's also not counting the bullshit thing that I found out today, where you're not actually allowed to compete in the Olympics anymore.
One more thing. Did you see? Oh, there was 2 runners that both tested positive for weed, which I don't know why is a big deal in the Olympics, because like that doesn't make you run faster; it makes you run slower. But the black girl, they were like, "Oh, it's fine because she runs fast." However, the evil male, they disqualified him.
I thought the female was also disqualified.
I think they let her back.
Wouldn't be surprised. This is the 21st century, and Steel Fang, yes, she is the one who did that beheading of Donald Trump thing and potentially traumatizing Baron Trump. And also, thank you for your Patreon support. It will be used wisely.
All right, so other than that, on the Olympics, that's all I got.
Okay, we have a comment.
I'd love to see the Olympics where everyone is extremely high. It would be funny seeing them try to run. No, I already said the only way that we would ever keep the Olympics alive is if we allowed the best enhancing drugs, so we see the human body at its true potential.
I'd say let them all drink, get high, do whatever, and then just laugh when they all run into each other and fall over. I'd watch that.
Anyways, for me, I've never cared for the Olympics. I've seen clips here and there, but never really cared for it. Ever.
I only watch the winter ones because I'm a white boy who's part Asian and part Nigerian.
Yes, and he has the Nigerian part where it counts.
Yes.
Still have yet to see evidence of it.
I have not shown. Never mind. I'm not touching that one.
I know how to trap you in a corner.
Nobody puts baby in a corner.
No, it only gets worse once a cavity search is requested by court.
Okay, prostate exam is bad enough.
Anyways, any other thing you wanted to discuss about specifically of the Olympics?
No, that was it.
Not really. The only thing that I would do as a policy mention is the high corruption for the 2020 Tokyo Olympics bid. And yes, it's still called the 2020 Tokyo Olympics bid instead of 2021 because that's what the Japanese bid it on.
Yeah, the Olympic Committee is a bunch of charlatan bureaucratic people.
I only watched the Olympics.
Like
Which
puppy,
one?
No, that was the Puppy Bowl. Never mind. Puppy.
The fuck are you talking about puppy bowl bullshit?
Well, there was like a puppy football thing where they put little puppies and they put, I think, was it football or soccer did the puppies play?
Puppy bowl, football.
Okay. Well, with what
Which I've
Steel
never
Fang
actually
is...
watched, which I probably should watch.
Jesus fucking Christ. Probably what you... So with Steel Fang, there are two potentials. There is the furry one that was made in like the 80s or 90s, which was a bit weird. Which Saber Spock did a hilarious video on that. Maybe I'll bring the link and we'll just watch it on stream. And then there's the other one, which I saw as a kid, which was just called the Animal Olympics, which was actually quite interesting because it was using the strength of actual animals. So it was having animals competing against each other. Of course, not really, because otherwise there would have been a lot of blood, but that's a different story. Not trying to brag, but I think I can take a medal home when it comes to climbing trees. No. Koalas might be good at climbing trees, but they're not doing it fast. You might be able to beat a sloth, but not much else.
Z, have you ever seen the movie Battle Royale?
I've seen snippets of it. I've never seen the whole film. Never had a full interest to really see it. I know Takeshi is in it.
Yes. And it's kind of what they stole to make the Hunger Games.
Oh, it's not just stole, because the author openly said in her own house in an interview that she doesn't know what Battle Royale is, and people notice in the background she has Battle Royale. So, stole is an understatement.
Okay, so here's my plan. I want to have a Battle Royale style thing. We take a bunch of people and drop them on an island, and they're all otherkin. And then they can all sort it out.
That sounds awful.
Or just put all the politicians.
I hate those kids.
Now, to make the situation much worse, the reason why we will never see an American Battle Royale remake or an American version of Battle Royale, because it was in development at one point, is because Hollywood fears that it would do poorly because too many people would associate it with the Hunger Games. So yes, the knockoff ruins the original. What to do?
Well,
aside from kill a bunch of children, but that's a different story.
Stop doing remakes. Make your own shit. Be inventive. Write something new.
Yeah, but that's not what Hollywood does.
No,
look at Outlaw over here.
They're all a bunch of lazy, liberal fucktards that couldn't pull creativity if it slapped them in the face. Sorry.
Anyways.
Actually, it is kind of horrifying how Hollywood is really incapable of even writing basic story elements anymore. Citation, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Because I watched that film twice, because I watched it once in the cinema, and then I watched the other time with Outlaw over here. And how did you describe the movie again before we choose a video?
Poorly written? I don't know.
I would rather be eaten by the T-Rex than watch that movie again. Although it did make me laugh because it was so epically bad.
The first half is moderately competent. The rest, a little bit, needs help.
Name one likable character. Just one, if there's any. Because
that's actually Blue. The one that suddenly gained empathy. But it is the most likable character because she's not human.
Read Roy's comment.
Is it?
Roy, you better watch the back of your head.
Oh, God. Okay, what's our video choices?
Well... Oh, well, hold on. We got a comment from here from Steel Fang.
America has a series of Battle Royale. It's called The Purge. Not really. The Purge is a film that had a very dumb premise, but worked. At least the first one. I
Did it
hope.
just-
I've never seen the first one. I've only seen the election year one.
Oh god,
Oh.
that's even worse.
I enjoyed it.
Everyone is entitled to their own opinion. Then again, I haven't seen the film, so I can't fully criticize it. I can only make an educated guess based on its past films.
It's an Orange Man bad film.
I could guess that by the
I
Trump
got
post.
that vibe from it. Because when I watched it, I didn't get that vibe.
There's a difference between vibe and dialogue.
For one, the female character, she was made as an independent. They didn't say she was a Democrat or anything, really.
Yeah, good. So she gets to vote. So she gets to die for a party that never wins.
The party that's picked Joe Jorgensen to run.
In fact,
Why?
they never brought really in politics, from what I could tell. The only thing they never really brought in, modern politics into it.
All right. Well, what hell do you have planned for us?
Well, it depends. I mean, we can continue on some other conversations, or we can do a video, because I really don't know of any other topics to talk about.
I'm fine with either one. I mean, by the end, I'm still working on my by the end, I'm still working on my sculpture over here.
I mean, it takes us like an hour to get through a video, anyways, and we always derail it. So you might as well start one.
No, let's see what the options are, because he will only allow us to see a few. So let's see, what are the options? Because it certainly ain't all of these on screen right now.
Well, there's others. There's quite a few. I mean, some of these I want to do my own videos on, like the one from Lauren Chen. I want to do a response because I have some disagreements with her on Black Rifle. By the way, does anyone know of Black Rifle, the CEO, liking tweets that were calling Kyle Rittenhouse stupid or an idiot or stuff like that?
No, let's do the Black Rifle one.
Are you sure? Because I was planning on doing my own response video. I mean,
I vote against the Black Rifle one. We did Black Rifle last time.
Okay.
Sports Illustrated?
What sports?
That one's just Ben Shapiro. I felt like he might have gone a little far, but then again, he's a conservative Jew, so...
Did he mention his wife's a doctor?
I just feel that I think he might have gone... I'd have to look up the whole video, but I think he was going too far and saying, like... Quite frankly, I think why does he even care what Sports Illustrated has, unless they're spewing something?
I mean, did you see his sudden shift of opinion on Ben and Jerry's?
Yes, I've seen that.
All right, misogyny and sexual harassment, Victoria's Secret. Okay, but that's 37 minutes long.
Yeah, and it's from Illuminati, someone who I moderately enjoy some videos of, but I don't know anymore since you complained about her last really awful video that I could not make it true.
Which one was that?
I don't know, it was something that had to do with US politics, and Illuminati was horribly wrong on it.
Okay, well, let me see. I can bring up...
You've made a video on it.
Oh, was it the PragerU one?
Yes.
Where she basically went with the whole... pretty much lying about everything about PragerU. Anyways, so...
Yeah, but I still find that Illuminati's issue is that she doesn't do proper research in its entirety because she's simultaneously trying to start up a business in the worst year possible.
Well,
or more that she started up a business before the pandemic hit and now has to try to find a way to keep the business that isn't open alive.
Well, I think the problem she has is she knows how to research. There's two problems. One, she doesn't put her biases in a box. Putting it away, looking at everything first, objectively speaking. And the other is that she's using very biased sources that often lie.
Oh, God. David Pakman? I hate that guy. That sounds painful, and it's only it's almost 7 minutes.
However, they have a Vox video about the House sperm got all the credit for fertilization.
Well, that's a biological fact.
I mean, it's partially I think they probably brought in some stuff, but I think they kind of complained a little too much.
I mean, what is it? Which group is it? Yeah, I mean it's Vox again. Come on.
Yeah,
it's literally the news site that if you didn't know, some time ago someone made a whole comment on Twitter to a Vox journalist. Yeah, because he was like, Vox doesn't deserve this treatment that it receives on the internet. And basically someone gave the comment, "You're so awful, even BuzzFeed is making fun of you." And it was literally showing a BuzzFeed article of the 12 worst articles written by Vox, and a bunch of them also include articles which were just hit pieces on Republicans. But they were it's like, you're so bad, even BuzzFeed is making fun of you. In one of the few good BuzzFeed articles, so it's like, yeah.
Okay, now, Wesley, and you were asking, I'm assuming, about the Illuminati, what she specifically lied about to PragerU. Well, one of the things is saying that she insinuated that they were racist because of indirect association with racists. That because one of their people who've done a few videos for them, which would be Dave Rubin, associated with racists or very controversial figures, and that somehow made PragerU racist in her eyes.
Basically, think of it like that report made by the Guardian, I think it was, where they used this, I'm gonna say it what it is, a questionable study to make their connections. And on, for example, the visualized study, there is a direct connection between Chris Reagan and Richard Spencer. And according to the study, direct connections translate to have collaborated with at least once.
So if you interview someone who is an abominable person to get, a story and to show what they're all about, well, then now you're a bad person?
Yeah, but that's
association?
Yeah, but that's the whole issue. Chris Reagan never did an interview or anything with Richard Spencer. He only ever reported once Richard Spencer's thing where he was punched in the face and did the whole Z Kyle or Hail Trump thing years back. Like, that's literally it. And the study puts it as a direct connection between the two.
And then promptly voted for Joe Biden.
Well, in this case, for example, what was his name? Dave Rubin did do some interviews with, what was his name? The bald former ANCAP. What was his name?
No clue.
It's a guy.
The guy who does the whole IQ thing.
What's the thing? Where's my pudding?
I forget his name. But anyways,
I literally have no idea who the fuck you two are referring to.
Do you know who I'm talking about, Demon?
The bell curve guy?
The guy who often tries to bring up the bell curve, I think. I forget his name.
Oh, I don't know. I don't make a habit of following many white nationalists.
Anyway,
really, that's the first time hearing it.
Dave Rubin did, some interviews with him, in which they tried to. She tried to say that him doing the interviews with him and maybe agreeing on some things, but maybe not agreeing with necessarily everything with it. He said, which, from what I can research, Dave Rubin never said he agreed with everything with the guy. That he just agreed with maybe some points on some stuff. Well, she associated that with saying that Dave Rubin is racist because he might have agreed with him on some parts of his argument, and then that since Dave Rubin agreed with that somehow made PragerU racist because they had Dave Rubin on some of their videos.
Well, little Tim Pool is interviewed a bunch of those people, and so now, even though he's pretty much libertarian left, they're calling him far right. Mm-hmm. But he's not at all.
It's just guilt by association. It's one of the oldest tactics, and it is a journalist's job to interview people, no matter.
Well, in this case,
their.
it's guilt by indirect association.
Oh,
Oh,
okay. Yeah,
oh,
that
like
makes it
Tucker,
worse. But anyways,
like Tucker trying to interview Putin, part of his job.
But yeah, like I said in my video, that's technically journalism. That's what journalists are supposed to do: interview people.
Did you see the NSA admitted it, that they were spying on him?
Yes, I heard something about that from New York Times or New York Post, whichever it's called.
Probably the Post.
Anyways, what was I saying? That was one of the biggest things. I can't remember specifically. You'd have to go onto my video, but there were some other things which she either lied or misconstrued about. I guess one of the things you could say, probably more she misunderstood, I would say, is that the whole thing about her saying that they don't believe in, or not saying, but insinuating that they don't believe in global warming, which Gregory believes there is global warming. They just the only arguments they've made is that it may not be all that much, and it may not necessarily be entirely humans' fault. It might be mostly a natural process.
It is.
I mean, you can't lie that there is a certain level in terms of such as like light dimming, which is a real thing. But that also comes mostly limited to industrial areas. I mean, look at China. You cannot tell me that there is no environmental effects in cities which are just 90% smog.
Mm-hmm.
Or India.
Yeah.
Don't remind me of that place.
Yes, Z has PTSD from there.
LA.
The smog isn't super bad in LA anymore.
LA has
Well,
smog.
Luckily, they reinstituted your mask mandate, so I mean, even if it gets smoggy one day, you know, you got a mask on, so you'll be fine.
Yeah, I really don't like that they did that, because that's just fucking annoying.
Because you live in California.
And
Actually, another thing that's moderately funny and depressing to just show the situation of things across the pond, as the phrasing goes. We had been trying to figure out for months to see what's the situation about Outlaw coming over here for a visit. Only to find out recently that it turns out the German government removed any restrictions from American tourists coming to Germany since July 20th. The issue is that they forgot to inform the public about this until like a few days ago. And that's
Well-
Demon's dying voice.
Oh, I just coughed.
That's how it starts, with just a cough. Next thing you know, you're bleeding out of your nose, and then you have to tell a doctor that you ate bat shit.
Nah, got the Ebola on top of the Rona. Ebola Rona.
Did anyone ever see that meme that was occurring in like April, I think it was, which was, why is coronavirus doing so poorly in Africa, I think it was? And this was, you know, where the news media just tried to somehow make it that Africa had some natural cure against, or had some natural solution against the coronavirus, whilst in reality it turns out it was just the government's not actually telling anyone the numbers. Because who could have saw that super corrupt African governments could be lying to everyone?
According to North Korea, nobody died. I think they took them out and shot them all.
Yeah, that actually did happen. 8 people have been confirmed to be shot by the Korean state for testing positive with the virus. But the meme that I'm trying to mention is the whole thing, and then it was just Ebola in a cowboy costume saying, "This place ain't big enough for the two of us."
Yes,
yeah,
Roy.
makes sense. What?
Roy,
Demon is working on the strongest human virus possible and to thin humanity's numbers. The horror.
Well, I mean, look, if you would just bend the knee and submit, like, maybe I'll give you the cure. But, I mean, at the moment, yeah, you're all fucked.
Anyways, so which video would we like to go over? So there's quite a few.
Why do
I have this here? I don't need this here. This is not supposed to be here.
Are we allowed to talk about Kyle Rittenhouse?
Yeah, I wouldn't even go into it right now. Actually, I don't even know why I still had. I don't even think there's any point.
Well, to try
to have this video anyway in here.
Let's see. Ideally, we find something short.
Yeah.
Something that's ridiculous that we can make fun of, whilst also debating over it.
There's the PragerU hate boner guy.
Oh, I hate that guy.
Sorry?
I could just tell from the thumbnail. That's that guy I can't stand.
Was this every gender defined under flags? Why do I feel like we should watch that one?
Oh no, that's no point. In fact,
I'll get us in trouble if we do.
That's kind of the point.
I forgot to make a video on this, so I could either save it for next year or something, or I don't know. I'm gonna get rid of it. So we got this. We got the Vox video, which is relatively short. There's the "Why aren't Q Trumpist nuts considered terrorists?" from Dave Pacman.
I say that one. What say you, Z?
Yeah, sure. Let's go for the Q Trumpers.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Oh, I hate this guy too.
You hate everyone, Demon. Plain and simple.
We have a voicemail number, and that number is 2192 David P. Here's an interesting question about the words we use to describe people who do certain things in society. In this case, specifically, the sort of Q Trumpist people. Take a listen to this.
I describe you
as
a
guy.
guy.
Wondering why Trump and all of these people that are following him and following Q
is this guy on
aren't
Prozac?
Considered terrorists.
Mm.
If it was foreigners that came with that attitude, would be locking them up. You know, but
Seriously, is the caller on Prozac?
Terrorism within the country too.
That's the only drug I can think of which calms you down.
Who it is, that shouldn't make any difference. Terrorism is terrorism.
Right.
And these guys are terrorizing this country. The Republicans, and
How?
not all of them, but those that are following Trump. And,
Demon, it's very obvious to see how they're terrorizing the U.S. public.
And Trump and his family. That's terrorism.
All right, name me one terrorist attack that's been done.
They're
Well,
trying to say the January
Don't you
6th
say
riot
it.
was a terrorist attack. That's
yeah,
what
but
they're
I
trying to
wanted
say.
That was
to
a
say my damn
riot.
joke, you two. I wanted to point out the terrorist action of the Republican Party that the left really doesn't like.
What?
The Republicans support the Jews. Come on. We've seen with the
anyways,
political left how anti-Semitic they become.
I will
That's
say
coming
the
from
guy
me.
is half right in the sense that if it was a foreign group of people, a foreign organization that started attacking the Capitol, then yes, that would be a terrorist attack because that's organized. This was not organized for one, and it wasn't planned or anything like that. Bless you. It is even not even that the worst kind of riots that we've ever even seen. This is by definition a riot. Q is not an organized group so much, not nearly as much as BLM or Antifa are. And there isn't much.
Antifa is organized?
To an extent, yes, they are. They have it saying, where should we go? They plan out attacks and everything.
On Facebook. Not on
Where
Parler.
Q doesn't really do that much, and it was only one event.
And there was one guy with mental issues.
Let's say if BLM never had done any kinds of riots, maybe at most they were doing illegal protests. Let's just say that. If they had only done one riot, like one major riot, I wouldn't say calling them a terrorist organization or calling them terrorists. I wouldn't
They've
say
been
that.
doing it for over a year.
But since they've been doing it multiple times, I would consider that terrorism because they are organized. They are telling where people to go and everything. That is terrorism.
Yeah, that's it.
But if it was just one event, or even maybe let's just say maybe 2 or 3, then yeah, you could say that's not necessarily terrorism. But they've been doing this many, many, many times over the past few years, and 2020 was just the worst ever
But
had been.
it's pretty much this is the leftist narrative. If you go back to 1943 and you read the Communist Manifesto from back then, it specifically says how you convince the public of a lie. You lie over and over and over and over. You get the media in on it, and then if someone disagrees, you call them a fascist. That's in it.
That's actually a derivative from Joseph Goebbels, the Nazi propagandist, with his famous quote from 1938, I think it was, which is, "You tell a small enough lie enough times, it becomes the truth."
Well, they both said the same thing. That's why Nazis and communists are basically the same thing.
No, I would say the Nazis are more economically free, but simultaneously, I would also say that I just like to point out the fact that even the communist thing that you're citing is stolen from someone else because they needed someone better than them to do their job.
Anyways, Q is not very organized, and they don't really tell their people to go out and destroy stuff from what last I heard.
They don't even exist anymore.
Is that. It's not really all that organized, and there was only one event you can name. One. And it wasn't really all that much of a terrorist act. It was more of that of what it would be just a regular riot. It wasn't even that a very violent riot.
No.
Comparatively compared to other riots.
One person got shot, and that was by the cops.
That's not saying that any loss of life was good or just or anything. I'm just saying that's just what it was. If you want to say Q's a terrorist organization, then okay. Then you have to say BLM is a terrorist organization. You absolutely have to. Because they have been organized. They have been destroying places.
Steelfang says Q is an organization, ?
Somewhat, not entirely. It is maybe considered an organization, but it's not really organized in the sense that they tell their people to go out and destroy certain places, last I recall.
Well, the only thing that I could say on the whole thing is that the only time I've ever heard QAnon is when CNN was trying to say something on it, and I just missed it. From how I understood it from CNN, it just sounded like the time that they mistaken 4chan to be one person.
Yeah.
So,
well, they fall for 4chan crap all the time. Like the OK symbol is white supremacy. That's a 4chan joke that they all bought into.
Pretty sure our audience knows that.
Anyways, do we want to continue with the video?
Sure.
Stop those people. I wish they'd just lock them up. It's the best place for them.
Yeah, well, so listen, unless they actually commit a crime, and many of these people have not, or at least not one that we're aware of, you can't just lock people up in that sense. But I think that there's a really good point here, which is if foreigners came to the U.S. and did a bunch of the things that the seditious rioters and Q people and pro-coup people were doing and saying, we would be saying, look at what these people are bringing from outside. They're coming in and they're advocating for the overthrow of the government. I think we would be obviously referring to them as terrorists if that's the case. Instead, when it's what we have, which is mostly white Trump-supporting men, they're called militia, or they're called patriots, or they're called constitutionalists, or they're referred to as...
No one's called them constitutionalists or patriots. Like, no one on the right. That's an absolute bold-faced lie. There are some crazy right-wing people who are saying that, but the vast majority of people on the right, from Fox News to National Review to the Daily Wire, to Steven Crowder. None of them are calling them patriots. No one.
Well, as someone who was there, now I wasn't stupid enough to try to go in the Capitol. I booked it. I dipped out. There was people of all races there, and there was a ton of women. How do you think I got laid twice?
Well, plus there's
Demon,
also
no
the factor
offense.
that... Yes?
Or is it going to say, Demon, no offense, but the women I've seen at protests, they would take anything. And you're definitely a step up out of most people.
I was the only one at the hotel who had alcohol.
Anyways,
That's also...
the other point to bring up is that not even everyone at that riot was supporting the rioting part.
No, we were telling them to freaking stop it. But it was ran by the FBI, so I mean, they and Antifa and BLM.
I have to say there were some instigators from the left and also perhaps maybe the FBI. I don't know. I'd have to look into that part more. But there were
Most
some
of the
right-wing people who
people-
were doing property damage and breaking in and everything.
Oh, the one
much.
window?
Mostly
A
just
A decent portion of the people who were arrested as instigating suspects wound up being released as quote-unquote undercover FBI agents. Just like of how the current PR disaster for whatchamacallit.
Can you give a source that said that they were undercover FBI agents?
Yeah.
No.
You know who actually broke the story that the kidnapping of Gretchen Whitmer was organized by FBI agents?
Yes, I heard that.
It's in BuzzFeed.
Yeah,
but-
Even they picked up on it.
Yeah, but we're talking about specifically of the January 6th riot. Now, which part do you have a source that says that is relatively credible?
Revolver.
I've never heard of them.
It's an online news site.
I would be skeptical about that. Now, Z, did you say you had a source on this?
No, I was gonna ask Demon for some help.
Anyways, Demon, you do have to.
The only thing that's coming up immediately on my search is the FBI's want list.
I would trust Red State probably before I would trust something from some source like Revolver, which I've never even heard of. And I don't even trust Red State all that much.
Yeah, I'm just saying I'm not saying it's definitive. I'm just saying, as someone that was there watching what happened, and with the history of what the FBI has been doing over the last 5 years, and probably since their inception, would you put it past them?
I'm not saying I'm putting it past them, but I don't try to put it on them if I have no evidence.
Well, I don't have definitive proof, no.
The first one which I was able to find after some things is confirmed undercover agents were working Capitol rioters on January 6th, court document revealed. This was January 8, 2020 on a website called the Republican Daily.
And according to the documents released in the trial for the people that tried to kidnap Gretchen Whitmer, it says that there was undercover FBI agents that instigated it and got other people to go along with them. And then when they finally arrested them, it was because they had incorporated like 4 or 5 FBI agents into the plot to catch 2 guys. And then the guys are like, we could blow up a bridge. And they're like, I know a guy that has C4. Entrapment. That's what the defense is arguing. And they have court documents to prove it.
I'm not denying that there was mishandling with that part. I'm just talking about strictly January 6th. No matter how much we want to say that the FBI might have been influencing January 6th, there has to be solid evidence of that.
It will come out eventually.
We'll see. But I'm just saying, Demon, because I don't like making any kinds of judgments. unless there's any solid evidence. I'm just going to say that. Anyways, what was they saying in this video earlier before we went on to this part?
Who cares? They're a bunch of idiots.
Now, Steelfang has a commenter. Can you prove that the FBI didn't contribute? Well, no, I can't, but that's not how you do stuff. Normally, you have to show that there's evidence of the FBI doing that. And if there isn't much evidence, or if there's no evidence, I don't like making those kinds of claims.
What's this? The point is, conservatives are making disinformation. There is no responsibility that the right will take.
Yes, they do.
I'm just wondering which disinformation are you talking about? Are you talking about where Demon had a source claiming that the FBI was behind the riot, or something else specifically, or are you talking in general sense, Wesley?
I was going to say there are tons of conservatives that take responsibility. I say, yeah, it was a riot. And just because there's instigators, there was a lot of people that followed like lemmings. And yes, they're responsible. So I'm not debating that.
Also, don't forget the fact that this FBI tried to increase charges because of a Lego set, and then they also lied about the Lego set.
Yeah, it was still in a box. Yeah. It hadn't ever been opened.
Anyways.
So they lied about that.
Okay, he's talking about the 6th. Okay. As far as I know, I don't think many conservatives have made the claim about... Well, actually, no. I take that back. There have been conservatives who said that Antifa, but I don't know about the FBI, they've made claim as much yet. But I will say, yes, there are conservatives who probably have said that without much evidence, and that is shameful on them. But to be fair, I'm just going to say it does happen on both ends, but yes, I will say that there probably are some who've said that. That's why I try to be as fair as possible, and I don't like taking any kinds of broad brushes against the FBI for certain things that might have happened without any evidence to actually say that they were of any significant effect on that event.
Have you seen what the FBI has done over the last 20 years?
I'm not saying I haven't. I'm not even saying that they couldn't possibly. I'm just saying, for that specific event, I have to see evidence of them actually doing it before I can say that they have done it.
Okay. If we get evidence, will you admit that you're wrong?
I'm not saying I'm wrong or right. I'm just saying I would have to see evidence. As of yet, there's no real hard evidence to say that they had any significant influence on it.
Okay.
Is it possible? Yes, it's possible. But as of right now, there's no evidence. I'm just trying to be because I like to see evidence before I like.
I know, but unfortunately, we live in a world where sometimes the evidence just will never show up. But what we can easily say, yeah,
I will give you.
For fuck's sake, stop bringing up the pedo. But anyways, I got a better example. Al Capone, or Scarface, as you may know him. There's a lot of people who are dead that we know for a fact Scarface ordered their hits. There's a lot more people that we know who are dead that we can't prove Scarface ordered their assassinations. But we know Scarface ordered their assassinations.
Mm-hmm.
Just like Mrs. Clinton.
Yeah, the person who conveniently has, what is it now, 12, 16, 18 friends who all committed suicide? One after the other?
Yes, but I'd still have to see, because do we even know if there's much influence that could suggest the FBI was behind it?
Considering what we have now with the Whitmore case and the fact that they tried to use the Lego kit to advance some form of What was it again that they tried to use the Lego kit for?
The guy made the Lego set of the Capitol to see where everything was inside. They do realize that everybody was like, Lego kits don't have accurate insides.
Yeah,
It's
they
not
only have a general
blueprint.
idea. It's outside.
Oh, and
Anyways,
Wesley, we're not defending any kind of rioting done by any people on the right. We do believe
No.
anyone who was legitimately rioting, they should be arrested and charged and serve their time.
Well, how
anyways,
come?
my basic point is that Outlaw, you can put it into this logic. Yeah? Are you hearing me?
Yes, I can hear
sure
you.
that my connection doesn't cut out. If the FBI is willing to lie about a fucking Lego set, is it too much of a stretch? And don't forget about John DeLorean. I will always cite John DeLorean as a good example of why to trust when something is going around very fishyly, such as like the Capital 6. I am still going to hold that the FBI had something to do with it because it's happened before, it's happened again, and it happened after January 6th.
Yes, but I have to see some evidence to even say that. Even if it's not an evidence to prove it, I have to see some evidence to even suggest that.
Mm-hmm.
As of yet, I have not seen any evidence that can even suggest that.
I'll find it and send it to you later.
You sound like a Nintendo
And it has to be
fanboy.
a relatively credible source for me to even believe it. No offense, Demon, but I'm not going to probably trust something called the rifle because I've never heard of it.
It was
if
revolver.
it was the Red State, maybe I could give some credence to it. Or if it was the Federalist, I could give some credence to it. But if something I've never even heard of, I'm not going to give credence to that.
Well, it's been used by people like Tucker Carlson.
Yeah, but I don't trust Tucker Carlson a lot of stuff either.
Again, it's borderline hopeless with you because it's just like we can point out the track record, but I'm sorry, it's just.
I'm not saying there isn't a track record. I'm just saying for a specific event, I have to at least see some evidence to even suggest.
Oh, would you like me to find Chris Cuomo or Don Lemon for you?
Who?
John Lemon.
The black racist.
Yes.
Now,
Or Bro Cuomo.
As for Wesley, no one here is denying the fact that there aren't people on the right that did riot. We're not trying to defend that. If Steel Fang is saying something, I don't know. But
how did Steel Fang say? That is like saying Antifa won't be violent at the next rally, even though they have a strong history of being violent. Okay, so I think this is okay. So let's try to understand this conversation. Outlaw, don't disavow Demon's claims if you can't prove that it's not possible. No, I'm going down from this. I'm going to ignore the comment that Wesley left about the election. Maybe we'll get to that later.
Oh, Steel Fang. Oof.
What? Oh, okay. Let me just try to. Okay, where was it? Okay, so Outlaw don't do the. Then Wesley, the FBI have always done a lot. What? The FBI have always done a lot or bad crap, but don't deflect from the radical behavior of the right. Okay, Steel Fang then says that is like saying Antifa won't be violent at the next rally, even though they have a strong history of being violent. Wesley then says, can we talk about the left problems? We can talk about the left problems too, but right now we are talking about the right on January 6th. Steel Fang, you're deflecting from the conversation. And now this is what Steel Fang. Outlaw, I'm sure a lot of people haven't heard of you, so why should they believe your articles? Technically, you got a good point.
And Wesley, all I do is research.
And then I'm sorry, but your co-host don't. I'm curious as to who is he talking about, which one, because we can guess.
You and me.
Yeah, but it's only one co-host, so I want to know which. Is it the Florida man or is it the crazy German? Anyways, co-hosts don't know how to research before they make their claims. Theirs is incorrect over here. No, Wesley, you are focusing on the right on the January 6th. You are trying to suck me into what? Why are the comments like this? Why is proper grammar absent?
Nobody, yeah.
I'm now going to our regular stream portion to see if any comments were censored by YouTube, because YouTube loves to censor comments for one reason or another, because it's annoying.
Anyways, now, as far as what Wesley said about the co-host, I think he might be talking about Demon there. But yes, I will say that who was it? Who brought up the? I think it was Steelfang brought up the credibility part. And yes, I agree that people don't need to trust. They don't necessarily need to trust me. I try to provide sources to give some credibility to myself. And if something does have maybe a credible, source, or something, hard evidence to back it, then I would say it might have more credibility. Now, if Demon, does your news source have something of physical evidence of some sort, some documents or something to show anything?
Yeah.
Okay, well, if you can send that to me later, I'll look it over.
I will.
But yes, Steelfang, in the sense that people don't have to necessarily trust me. You bring up a good point. Is that people may not trust me because they don't know of me and everything. Which maybe that is a bit hypocritical of me to say. I'll take that. I'll take it. Maybe it's a little bit hypocritical of me.
Okay, so with the current thing that I found, so I got a bunch. One is the same one from the Republican Daily. Another one is from the National Sentinel. Another one is Stillness in the Storm. And another one is Trending Politics. And then the first one from a verified news source is USA Today. Fact check. No evidence FBI organized January 6th Capitol riot.
Fact check from USA Today.
Yeah, I know. I was just making a joke of showing what's the first official result.
Anyways, as for for getting reliable sources, normally I like to do is get credible sources to back my info, because what a lot of times I say is backed by sources that are considered credible on the particular topics and that have data to back it up. Now, what were we on here about the? Now let's go back to the whole.
Okay,
FBI
so I stumbled across this other thing, Daily Veracity, or it starts off the article. So the article is multiple criminal complaints confirm agents were all around the Capitol building on January 6th. The article starts with the recent criminal complaint against Phi Dong, however you pronounce this guy's name, along with several other affidavits, confirms reporting by Revolver News, so this is the one that Demon mentioned, which claimed that the FBI agents around the Capitol on that which claimed that there were FBI agents around the Capitol on January 6th, likely coercing people to storm the building. The infiltration of groups and attempts to entrap members is something the FBI admits to doing often. That's just the first paragraph, which I read.
If you want, we can go through the original Revolver document and see if it at all has anything credible in it.
I'm just trying to see what's in our let's see what's in our comments section now. Steelfang then says, no, Wesley, you are focusing on the right. Okay, read that already. From what source are you what source are you doing research? If you pull from bad source, it doesn't matter. I'm sorry, but the issue also comes down to what is a credible source anymore. I do not like the New York Post, but apparently the New York Post is a credible source. I really don't like CNN, but oh boy, does my school like to mention that they're a credible source, even though our own school mentions that CNN has been caught lying and even was sued by the German government for for basically telling a fake story as truth. But that's a different story.
Now, as for what is a credible source, all depends on, a lot of times, what the topic is. If it's usually non-political, regular, everyday news, you can more than likely trust it.
What's
That's the issue. That's the issue. No. But that's also the issue, because even when it's something minor, now we often see that something is twisted by it quite a bit. To give you an old story from 2013, I think it was, where it went viral, and that's why I remember this, where CNN reported this whole thing of a god-awful aunt who was suing her nephew because her nephew broke her wrist. That's how the story was reported by CNN, the Huffington Post, the BBC also wrote an article on it, the New York Times, all basically the same of how awful this aunt is for suing her nephew because basically the nephew hugged her, she tripped, and in the process she broke her wrist. Yeah, what an awful aunt for suing her own nephew who was like 11, I think it was. Yeah. Actual story. It turns out that it turns out the woman's insurance wouldn't cover it. So what the family came up with is that she sues her sister, aka her nephew's mother, and their insurance pays for what her insurance refused to pay. It was basically a fixed lawsuit.
Oh, well, isn't that technically illegal?
Not really.
Look how many hate crimes happen all the time.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, yes, you're right that there's really not very many credible sources anymore these days, or if there ever were. You always have to look at usually the original documents. That's usually the best way to look at things.
Actually, there was a time when news was credible. It was before the 24-hour cable news
when did that start?
came up. That was the 80s, when legends who came about in the 1950s were replaced, as the good old song by Jib Jab says, which maybe I'll show the video later because it is a fun song.
I don't know, because even the news lied about or exaggerated the things with Watergate, because I've been looking into it more. A lot of it was exaggerated. Or even
but that was at the start of cable news last I checked. Cable news went full wing, replacing everything in the 80s. 60s and 70s were the intermediate phase where it came in. The 30s to 50s was where I would say was the golden age of news, where it was only like a 1-hour segment in the evening, maybe 2 hours. So it was basically the whole day was research on the whole thing, which, yes, if you look back, you will find that quite a bit of it is false on occasions, but that was just limited due to technology at the time. But even then, back then, you would find occasionally cases, but it also comes from companies that no longer exist or companies that were dying. For example, the best example of this is the, what's his name? Not George Orwell. Orson Welles' reading of War of the Worlds. You know, the one that scared America. Yeah. Oh, actually, it turns out that this was mostly bullshit by paper media to try to demonize radio.
Yeah, Wesley, not one of us said that the people that went in were not responsible for their own actions. They were, completely.
No, wait, where is he saying that? There are a lot of right source that have no credibility. Still Frankton says all sources ruled by Democrats is untrustworthy. Even if the FBI was involved in some way, they cannot be completely held responsible for everything that happened. Yeah, of course, no one is saying that. All of us say that whoever stormed the Capitol, especially broke stuff. As much as I give credit to the guy who stole Nancy Pelosi's podium, because I would I'm gonna say it over here. I would totally have fucking done it. I just know that I would cover up my face and do everything in my power to make sure that there was no way of tracking me. I would know that I would have it next to my bed and I would keep something on it. Maybe that Nancy Pelosi doll that you can buy on the internet.
But anyways,
but aside from that, none of us are saying that that they should not be held responsible because they did do an illegal action that did actually wind up killing a bunch of people to various degrees of the whole issue. What I'm trying to say is that you could argue that the stress of the whole thing caused that one security guard to have a stroke. Then, of course, you can't forget about the old lady who was trampled. You know, the ironic death.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she was holding a "Don't tread on me" sign and then gets trampled to death. Yeah, that's awful. Although ironic. But yeah, the basic point is that the FBI has become an organization that uses its power to abuse. And like I said, that's why I must admit, Outlaw, I am a bit upset with you on this portion. Because like I said, with the good old example of Al Capone, there's a lot of people that we know that he's killed, and then there's a lot of people that we have no real evidence to show that he got them killed, but we know for a fact that he did order them to be dead. And
I'm
the
not
FBI,
denying that the FBI might have had it. I'm just saying
my basic point is that the FBI has a much worse track record than most other things. Even Al Capone has a cleaner track record than the FBI, I'm going to say now. And if you look at every other case where they've been caught doing something like this, go back all the way to John DeLorean as a good example. They try to get the man set up for I forgot how many years in prison, and every step of the way it was the FBI's responsibility to try to ruin a man who was down on his life. He couldn't keep his company alive. The FBI gave a deal for his drug-addicted neighbor to push the idea that he does cocaine. Where did he get the cocaine? He never even touched the cocaine. Okay, where did the cocaine come from? Oh, the FBI just used a whole ton of cocaine that they had to try to give it to the man. So it was undercover agents who were giving him the cocaine. It was undercover agents who were going to pick up the cocaine from him and arrest him. And then it was also undercover FBI agents pushing a drug neighbor to push him to do drugs to try to save his company and his livelihood at the moment.
I would like to post that Steelfang does agree with your comment here about that the people who did those stuff should be held responsible, Wesley. And you put here, Wesley, that everyone is a liar, trust no one. It is true that pretty much everyone is a liar. You shouldn't trust anyone, or at least be skeptical of everything you hear, read, or see.
And that's where the whole thing is. When you the trick is to find patterns. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone has tics, if that makes sense. Kind of like of how was it J.K. Rowling who really likes to use the word ejaculate in the Harry Potter books or something like that? Anyways, everyone has a tic. There's a very awkward word that she really liked to use in the books, and it became like a joke a couple of years ago. But anyways, the basic point is that everyone has a tic. And when you look at articles, you can notice patterns very easily once you notice who's writing it. And, or if the story has been changed some way or another. It's kind of like that whole thing. I forgot what's the video where it's trust us, we're the media. And it's basically like 25 different news sources that say the exact same fucking thing across the planet.
Yep.
Down to the exact same sentence. And that's where the trick is. It's to read between the lines. And like I said, you have to use your basic deduction skills to figure this out. And like I said, you may not like the sources that we can find on it, but by the end, the FBI is not someone that you should die on the hill of evidence for.
No, I don't think he's trying to die on the hill for the FBI.
No, I'm talking about you, Outlaw.
I'm not dying on the hill for the FBI either.
That's what I'm trying to say. It is good to keep it up for an individual, but for an organization like the no, you are dying on the hill for the FBI in this situation. You keep citing that we have to find a source that is to your liking credible and so on.
Well, either a source or a source that has, some original documents.
What's this? Do you... Okay, seriously, what the fuck is with your grammar? Do you... I'm sure you trust some source. Are you a flat earther? No, none of us are flat earthers over here.
I think he might be referring to Steelfang.
Possibly.
I don't know.
Steelfang is not a flat earther either. Oh, and one more thing. You guys, the FBI, just forget about the whole Steele dossier, Russia collusion.
No, I
Russia,
didn't
Russia.
forget that. I know that they did that.
Golden Gate.
We have evidence to show that they did that.
Golden Gate. I'm gonna keep
How
calling
long did
Golden
it-
Gate until you
how-
acknowledge it.
How long did it take it to come out?
It took out quite a while. Like I think
The FBI director shutting down the Hillary Clinton investigations before election night.
Yeah.
Yes, I know that. I'm not saying I trust the FBI or anything.
I think I will end it with my last statement, which is basically there is a good quote from the detective in V for Vendetta, and I know that citing pop culture, what a millennial slash zoomer I am for it, but when it's well written, it's well written. Where the detective, when he's trying to figure out what the fuck is going on, and slowly by slowly starts to realize that viral attack that happened from eco-terrorists turns out it was actually done by the British government themselves to institute a new totalitarian regime. Yeah. He gives the good quote of, if you've been in this business long enough, there is no more coincidences. What's this? Don't even trust yourself, bro. You're lying to yourself.
he's just talking to steal things.
I know, but at this point, I'm just trying to understand if his bad grammar is a joke or he's trying to give me a heart attack.
You see, bad grammar may not necessarily be because they have bad grammar. It's just when people often type, you have to do stuff fast. So you make a lot
I
of
know that you have
grammar
to do
mistakes.
stuff fast because I get into a lot of typing arguments as well. My basic point is that that's no excuse to, because basic grammar is useful when you're trying to make an argument so you don't sound like you're a Neanderthal. No offense, Wesley.
Oh, it's such Chad language.
What?
What?
A Chad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, you know the Chad meme.
Yeah.
Okay.
Come at me, bro. It's basically, it's like Karen or Becky, but for
Or
guys. Outlaw, I can't believe you've never heard of that.
I never heard of what?
No, we know the Chad language and all that.
Yeah, I know that. I just found it bizarre you just bringing it up all of a sudden.
Because of the word bro twice.
Is it in there twice? I guess it was.
Yes.
God, pay attention.
Should we continue with this video? That's only been 2 minutes.
No, just go to something else.
Oh, boy.
Anyways, what was I saying?
Dying on the hill for the FBI?
No, because I never was dying on the hill for the FBI.
Oh, yes, you are.
I don't think me saying that I want to see some kind of evidence as dying on the hill.
I would say that that is the case, especially in the modern world that we live in. Wait, you might be annoyed at it, but it does come to a sad reality when you notice how much stuff we know, but unfortunately we cannot prove with evidence because it doesn't exist anymore.
At least with the Hillary Clinton thing, you can show that she has the connections. With the FBI, you can't show really any connections to that kind of event.
I can point you there's a long list of people who Stalin got killed, but we still cannot find the link or the evidence to why
but he
got
had a
them
connection to them. In some vague sense, at least. There's no connection here. The organization to the event that we know of.
killed. Really?
Well, okay, which part?
I thought it's kind of obvious. It is a perfect event to cause a false flag situation.
Yes, it is a perfect event to do that, but I wouldn't still connect them unless I had something. You could say that they might have. I wouldn't say you can't say that. I just I personally would never say that they were behind it, or I would say I think there's a good chance they were behind it. I'm just saying that.
Hmm.
I'm not trying to defend the FBI, and I'm not saying that they would never do anything like that. There is a good chance they might try to do something like that.
There's a good chance that you could say that they have tried to do something like that.
I'm all for dissolving all the alphabet agencies.
Well, yeah, I'm not. I would say there needs to be a complete overhaul of all the agencies.
No, just wait. You know, we live under a worldwide communist government, and the FBI turns into the Stasi. Enjoy.
Oh, please, the FBI is already the Stasi.
Pretty much.
And before you say that there's nothing for that, remember the FBI is currently requesting that you squeal on your neighbors that might be extremists.
I wasn't saying anything.
I know, I was just taking a preemptive strike.
Okay. Anyways, do we have any other comments? Because otherwise I think we'll have the stream end early today.
No, we can bring in some videos like these.
Like what?
I'm sending the link. Quit being impatient.
Let's see, what'd you send?
What the fuck is going on with Wesley?
I guess we can
I
watch
like
one
sounding
short
stupid, ho. No, it's not. What? Just look at like the last 3 Wesley comments.
I don't.
I don't know what that's to, but okay. Anyways, let's share the video you sent. This will be, I guess, our last video.
No, it's so short.
See, we're not going to have like 30 minutes of entertainment videos.
No, but we could do something like 15. Anyways, there was also the Saber Spark video, but I can't remember.
Anyways, I have a question here. Can you please read it?
Outlaw, do you honestly think the FBI or criminals would tell you the truth if you asked them?
No, I'm not saying they would. No, I seriously don't think that. I don't believe anything that comes out of the mouth of the FBI.
Also, I just like to point out another thing against you, Outlaw.
Yes.
Keep in mind, we know MK Ultra happened because we only have a couple of documents that were leaked. The rest were burned.
Mm-hmm.
Just like of how, weirdly enough, the United States government planned to detonate a nuke on the moon once. Yes, this was a real project. And when it was partially leaked by Carl Sagan, because he put it on his accomplishments list. Yes, he accidentally leaked government documents. And when people ordered Information Act, mysteriously all the documents were burned overnight in a suspicious order. So this is another event that we have a rough idea of what was the project to launch a nuke on the moon.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't actually have evidence for it.
Speaking of nukes, how many nukes is America missing?
32. I've already shared this on my Discord. America has lost 32 nukes. The government has no right to say that you're irresponsible with an AR-15, one of the weakest guns that you can buy.
How many is Russia missing?
Don't get me started. That's a longer list.
100!
They're missing 100. They're missing several nuclear submarines, and they also tested a nuclear bomber through the danger system. So they flew a nuclear bomber that gave all of their crew cancer and and just spewed radioactive particles into the atmosphere.
Anyways, I'm gonna play the video. Oh, hold on. Is it playing?
We don't hear anything. We got no audio.
I forgot to just press the audio thing.
Buttons not work right.
Outlaw not work right.
Fuck you.
Brain not work right.
That's just called a stroke.
There was a time not long ago when each and every day at 6 o'clock each evening you knew news was on its way. From anchors of integrity and free channels to choose. It's what we call the news. Then along came cable and the ratings race ensued. Great legends found themselves replaced by blondes with big fake moves. Debate replaced with undetreated, politically skewed. It's what we call the news. We interrupt this story, which is coming from Iraq. Cause Rosie Sue and Donald, Donald Sue and Rosie back. We're cutting from Darfur. We're in Des Moines with urgent news.
There's a finger in my food.
Guitar strings, titles, sound effects, and graphics everywhere. Breaking news each minute in the rush to get on air. With scandals, dramas, tragedies, and mindless ballyhoo. That's turned our brains to goo. Now only 3% can point to Kabul on a map. But 96% can claim they've seen Riz The world's greatly affected by the stories you choose to put into the news. Bronco chases, plane wreck shootings, victims on a cruise. John Bonet's got Peterson and Anna Nicole too. Celebrities in rehab and a bowling at the zoo. It's what we call the, what we call the, what we call the news.
This just in, President Bush can't open a door. They call this crap the news? That's what they call it.
I like that. That was a good video. That was
fun.
Yeah, but also depressing. Considering everything that they mentioned in this actually happened.
But anyway, Z, as far as me trusting the FBI, I don't trust the FBI, nor am I defending it. As I told you, my mom is a former FBI agent. She knows, for example, she thinks it's all the atrocious stuff the FBI is doing and everything.
So?
And I've told you about where she was being forced to do things even back when she was in the FBI that she did not like, and that was part of the reason why she retired early.
Yeah, my dad was high up at NASA for 40 years. He told me all kinds of crazy crap that they do.
I got to meet Von Braun.
Yes, actually.
Lucky bastard.
He did. I didn't. I wasn't born.
Anyway, now, going back to the thing, if the FBI instigated it, is it possible? I say, yes, it is possible.
I don't say that they instigated it. I just say that they opened it.
What do you mean?
Remember, there is still the footage of the cop who's opening the barrier.
Oh yeah, I know that
door.
was done. There's nothing you can deny there. That the cops there opened everything up for people to come in. I don't even know if it's necessarily the FBI so much. It might have been just the cops. Sort of might have had sympathies for them in the sense of letting them come in. Because I think there was footage of one police officer saying is, I disagree with what you're saying, something, but I think you should be allowed to say it. Like there was footage of that. Like one of the police officers who was letting people in.
Yeah, because the Capitol Police have never had a scandal before either. All the time.
Yeah, I know the footage of with the Capitol Police letting people in. That's we know, everyone knows that is true. We know that happened.
Yeah, I watched it happen.
Anyways, are we in agreement on that, or is there anything else we disagree on possible things?
No, I would agree. It's possible, and there is limited stuff that's come out, but we'll see in the future. Although I am not abdicating the people that ran in, broke stuff, stole stuff of responsibility. They're definitely guilty and should be punished. Most of them are getting trespassing charges, so that's completely fair.
Yes. And anyone who
I sent one last video to end the stream. I'm agreeing with most of your messages. The only exception I will give is to the guy who stole Nancy Pelosi's podium, because I don't like her.
And they took her. They were saying it was Pelosi's laptop, and they raided that chick in Alaska's home. because they stole a secret laptop that was Pelosi's. It was like her secretary's, and there was nothing on it.
I don't think Pelosi would even Pelosi. Sorry, I got to put the Russian influence. Anyways, I don't even think Pelosi uses a laptop.
You think she types her own memos
Of course not.
or her own speeches? No.
Well, I would imagine with how drunk they sound and how many times she appeared on the podium drunk, I would believe so.
As for the now, Steelfang has a question here. Why did the police let them in? As for the reasons, there could be a few multiple possible reasons. One is that it was set up. They wanted that someone higher up wanted them to for it to become a riot. Or two is that maybe those police officers agreed in some sense with the first protesters, then rioters, and that for that reason they let them in because they felt that they should be able to voice their opinions on the Capitol.
I remember the rumor going around where somebody said that one officer asked the other, "Why did you do that?" And the other said, "I'm not paid enough to deal with this."
I was going to say...
I could believe that.
Theory.
What is your theory?
I was going to say, once all the limited group out of everyone who was there, who were removing the fences and pushing the cops who were woefully understaffed, even though the National Guard was offered to them. And once all these people in the front, it was like a few hundred people out of the thousands that were there. Once they got through, the cops were just like you said, like, I don't get paid enough for this. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, there could
and like I said, I will say the final sign to show that North Korea is falling apart, and yes, it does connect to what we're talking about over here, is that even in North Korea, the people who work for the tyrannical government are no longer in a better position than the people who are, the target of said tyrannical government.
You see the one North Korean defector that said that the U.S. has become worse than North Korea when she left?
No. No, I don't know what you're talking about, but what I'm trying to say is that when the police and even the military start to feel that there is no point in serving the people that they're supposed to serve, aka the politicians in this scenario, because it's just not worth it, it's going to result pretty badly for someone. And the French Revolution happened.
But AOC was scared for her life 3 blocks away.
Yeah.
Steelfang has the question: why were they understaffed?
The mayor.
That's just called shitty politics. I mean, so many things that are useful are understaffed, and then what's not useful is overstaffed.
They had the cops.
I forgot where it was, but somewhere in Europe we had this whole recent issue where it turns out that the city government itself is understaffed, but it's just convenient that the mayor has his entire family working in minor positions and they're getting paid a shit ton more than the actual city employees. It's called shitty politics or corrupt politicians, whichever way you want to go about it.
Aren't those synonymous?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Sometimes the shitty politics can be, let's see, sometimes it can be for example, in India, because when the last election cycles was in India when I was there, Modi's party, the current Prime Minister of India, lost in my state. So what happened was that Modi's party just bought the competition party. So now they control the state despite losing the election.
Oof.
So that's one way that you could see it as shitty politics, because politically speaking, this was fully allowed. Anyway, shall we go on to the creepy video and then end today?
Hi, I'm Fox San Antonio's Jessica Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest responsibility is to serve our
Treasure Valley communities,
the El Paso, Las Cruces communities, Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces. But we are concerned about trouble and trending irresponsible, one-sided news stories plaguing our country.
Plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these stories.
Welcome to the bar.
First. Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think.
And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous
to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
You know, guys,
This is
I'm starting
extremely
to notice
dangerous
a
to our
pattern.
democracy.
Hey,
It's a shitty pun.
Z, DM that to me on Discord because there's some people I want to show it to.
Sure. Wesley, I do appreciate you being here, asking your questions, and giving your thoughts.
Yeah.
Who is Dominic Mays? How do we pronounce your name?
Maez, maybe? Maez?
Why did you say
Dominic.
her? I think Dominic, I'm pretty sure, is a boy's name.
I said his name.
Oh, I thought you said her.
Now you're just hearing things. Just because you want to join the Women's Olympics so you can win a gold prize doesn't mean everyone is suddenly a woman.
Ha ha.
Well, you would want to win a gold Olympics medal.
Yeah, but not in the women's. I already got the Obama administration misgendering me.
Wait, what?
When I was getting my Eagle Award and I was having my celebration for it, we sent out a card saying, like, I'm getting my Eagle Award, yada yada. The Obama administration sent one back congratulating me on getting my Gold Award, which is for Girl Scouts.
Well, I mean, you're kind of girly.
Like I keep saying, you're the woman of the relationship.
Fuck you.
Okay, so Dominic Mays says you did it right the first time. Thank you very much. So Dominic Mays says the chorus of fascism. Sounds like it. Roy says, I feel like I'm slowly going insane listening to that video. Well, that's kind of the point. It's supposed to show the world that we live in, to a sense.
Anyways, as far as everyone's comments about pushing questions either against me saying that they want to get my side with you, Steelfang, you're pushing your questions out, and also Wesley putting his out. I appreciate all of those kinds of comments, whether you want to get at some kind of like answer that maybe explains things a bit more to you or stuff like that. I like you guys pushing us to challenge us to give our thoughts of everyone. I do.
Especially we can push Outlaw in the corner.
Oh, fuck you. Anyways, thank you for everyone for tuning in. If you enjoyed this stream, please give it a like and share it. Comment down below any thoughts or criticisms you might have. And of course, if you have any recommendations for things we should do on another stream next time, please.
Oh, by the way, I did find a video in the end by Saber Spock on the Animal Olympics, which maybe next time we should watch, because just why the hell not?
Well, maybe before. I'm thinking next week we might do a gaming stream for next week.
So maybe before the whole gaming stream, we do this.
Anyways, so do all this, and of course, if you really like my content, please consider donating to my Patreon or to my Ko-fi, or get something from my merch store. And of course, if you own a business,
donate to my Patreon and give Demon some money. He needs it.
Yes, also support Z Commander. He has his Patreon that has been reactivated. And of course, if you guys own a business or work for a business that is looking for benefits for the employees, you can go ahead and contact me on Twitter or Discord if you're on one of those two social medias. So,
quit loitering on YouTube.
What?
Quit loitering on YouTube. It's not a good business strategy.
Don't you mean quit self-promoting?
Isn't that what loitering is?
No, loitering means you're staying in one place, just doing nothing.
Like the bum sitting in front of the store.
Honestly, the only time I've ever seen loitering charges are often given out to people like Jehovah's Witnesses, or that was Jehovah's Witnesses in Regensburg who got arrested for doing that.
Anyways, what I was doing was not loitering at all. That's self-promotion.
Well, you're staying in one. You're staying in one spot. You aren't moving, and you're kind of holding people hostage to listen to your advertisements that may not affect them. So loitering it is.
And of course, and if you guys need any life insurance, I can always help you with that as well. So do all this.
And if you need a get-rich-quick scheme involving life insurance, I might be able to help with that.
Anyways, do all this, and I'll see y'all later.